السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله وكفى وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى. أما بعد، أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إنما المؤمنون إخوة. صدق الله العظيم. All praise is due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who has created us, sustained us, and above all created us in the best of ummah, that is the ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created us as human beings, and as human beings, not everything will go according to the way that we want. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will test us in different ways. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will test us because we are believers. And that is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that do people think that they will bring iman and Allah won't test them? That is a part of iman. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also tells us, لَتُبْلَوُنَّ فِي أَمْوَالِكُمْ وَأَنفُسِكُمْ, that you will be tested with regard to your wealth, with regard to your own family, your own life. وَلَتَسْمَعُنَّ مِنَ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ وَمِنَ الَّذِينَ أَشْرَكُوا أَذًى كَثِيرًا. And you will also have to hear a lot that will not make you happy. You will hear a lot of insults, you will hear a lot of criticism, you will hear a lot that will be said to you. But what does a believer do? Every single believer in the world has to understand that it is the dictates of iman that somewhere in your life Allah will test you. Sometimes when Allah brings a test upon us, we look at it and we think that why is my Allah testing me? But we have to look at the life of Ayyub alayhi salam, who taught us that when Allah tested him, what did he say? He said to his wife, and it's an incident I've narrated many times because it is so important. When his wife had to go out, cut her hair, sell her hair in order to put food on the table for the Nabi of Allah. And when he asked her, where did you get the money from? She didn't want to tell him. But when he got ill, at that point, his wife had to literally sell her hair to feed the Nabi of Allah. And she said to him, why don't you ask Allah for afiyah now? Why don't you ask Allah to remove your difficulties? And he said, count the number of years that Allah gave me afiyah, and count the number of years that Allah gave me difficulty. How can I be unappreciative of the good years that Allah gave me? He said, I'm shy to tell Allah that Allah, this difficulty is here, take it away, when all along Allah gave me afiyah. So Allah will give us tests. Allah will put our iman to the test. But a true believer will be one who will say that I must come closer to my Allah through this test. There is so much that is going on in the world. There are so many issues. There are families that are having problems. There are families that are having disputes. Communities are having issues. Masajid having issues. The whole country, the whole ummah, everybody going through some sort of difficulty. But we have to understand the time of Sahaba radiallahu anhum also had challenges. When Sahaba were alive, shaitan was there also. When Sahaba were living, there were also shaitan who tried to make problems in families. There was also shaitan who tried to make problems between Muslims. But how Sahaba radiallahu anhum dealt with it was what made them Sahaba radiallahu anhum. It was that which brought them up. And what is the quality that we learn that put out so many disputes throughout the Muslim world? It is al-hilm, tolerance. To be able to tolerate the next person. This was such a quality of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam that is unparalleled. The famous incident of Zayd bin Sa'na, the person who was the rabbi. He came to Madinah Munawwara. He wanted to see a quality in Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. What was the quality? The quality of hilm. And he read in his scriptures that the forbearance, the patience of this last Nabi will far supersede his anger. And what did he do? Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was sitting. Some people came to Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and said, "O Nabi of Allah, there is a tribe that has accepted Islam and now they are undergoing difficulties. O Nabi of Allah, do you have something that we can give them so that it will keep them in Islam? We fear that if they have these difficulties, they will leave Islam." Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam asked Ali radiallahu anhu, there was nothing. Zayd bin Sa'na jumped at the opportunity. He came and he said, "Oh Muhammad, I will give you an advance loan. And on a specific day, you give me the crops of an orchard." Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, "Not a specific orchard, but I'll give it to you back." the deal is done. Zayd bin Sa'na intentionally comes before the due date and he grabs the Nabi of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam by the throat. He grabs him by his kurta and he says, "Oh Muhammad, I know you and your family. You have a history of delaying people's payments and not meeting your payments. Where's my money?" Umar radiallahu anhu wants to kill him. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, "Oh Umar, hold on." Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam tells him, "Go and give the man what he wants." And who does Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam send? Umar bin Khattab radiallahu anhu. When Umar radiallahu anhu goes and he gives him, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, "Give him extra, O Umar, in lieu of the way you looked at him. That dirty look you gave him, O Umar, give him extra." On the way back, Zayd bin Sa'na tells Umar radiallahu anhu, "Do you know who I am?" Umar says, "No, I don't know, and I wish I didn't know you." He says, "My name is Zayd." He said, "Zayd who?" He said, "Zayd bin Sa'na." He says, "Are you not the intelligent Jewish rahib?" He says, "Yes." He says, "So why would you behave in a way like this?" He says, "I wanted to see the truth of the patience of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam." The patience of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam is something that stood out in the life of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Why would Allah make Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam show us how to tolerate each other? Why would Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam go through all of these difficulties in order to see this? How many occasions did Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam think about this ummah? And he showed us all of these good things. Ibrahim alayhi salam, فَمَنْ تَبِعَنِي فَإِنَّهُ مِنِّي. Oh Allah, those who follow me are mine. Isa alayhi salam, إِن تُعَذِّبْهُمْ فَإِنَّهُمْ عِبَادُكَ. Oh Allah, if you punish them, they're your servants. But if you forgive them, what did Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam do when he heard these ayat? He lifted his hands and he said, "Ya Rabbi ummati, Ya Rabbi ummati." Oh Allah, my ummah, my ummah. That same ummah today, we say we follow Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but where is our patience? Where is our patience? Where is our tolerance for each other? Where is our tolerance for our own family? Where is our tolerance for our own brethren? Where is our tolerance for our own? Where is the tolerance in the home? Where's the tolerance in the masjid? Where's the tolerance as an ummah? Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said so beautifully, "Inna Allah rafiqun yuhibbur rifq." Allah is soft and Allah loves softness and kindness. And when Allah loves something, Allah puts softness in it. And softness is not put into anything except that it will beautify it. Today, "Innama bu'ithtum muyassirin." Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, why have we been sent to the ummah? To make things easy for everyone. To make things easy for everyone. This ummah needs to learn this tolerance. Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, what was his advice to Sahaba going out in war? Not going out for a meeting. Sahaba going out for war. Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu calls him up. He says, "Go out and you only go out to and uplift the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. La taqtulu shaykhan." You see an old person, don't harm him. You see a woman, don't harm her. You see a child, don't harm her. You find someone who is ill in war, don't attack him. Don't burn the bridges. Don't kill the animals. The only animal you're allowed to kill is the one you are going to eat. Listen to these words of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. When going out to those who want to kill you, this is the tolerance Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu is teaching the ummah. When are we as an ummah going to treat ours like how Sahaba treated the enemy? When are we as an ummah going to treat our own like Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam treated those who wanted him dead? Where is this compassion going to come? On the occasion of conquest of Mecca, the year before that, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam entered into the haram. Uthman bin Talha radiallahu anhu had the keys of the Kaaba. He used to open it Monday and Thursday. Anybody wanted to enter the Kaaba could come. He sees Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam walking towards the door of the Kaaba. He goes and he stands in front of the door of the Kaaba and he tells Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, "That day will never come when you're going to enter the Kaaba." And Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam looked at him and he smiled and he said, "Oh Uthman, what will you do the day these keys are in my hands?" The next year, conquest of Mecca. Whoever insulted Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whoever hurt him, whoever threw his daughter off the camel, whoever made Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam's daughter lose that child, who was a grandchild of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what did Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam do? He said, "I tell you, like Yusuf alayhi salam said, La tathriba alaykum al-yawm." Today, small petty issues in a family, no tolerance. Husband and wife have an argument, no tolerance. Brothers fighting, no tolerance. Where is the tolerance gone in the ummah? How many women And we harp on this issue about mother-in-law. How many of men out there know the abuse that their wives go through and they don't even tell you when you come from work? How many women will come and say, this is what my mother-in-law said to me throughout the day. This is how she insulted me when my husband is not here. The husband comes back from work. Sometimes we say, why don't you tell your husband? She said, my husband went, he had a long day at work. He came home. Why should I burden him by telling him what his mother said to me? What am I going to achieve? I can't make him choose between his mother and me. I'd rather swallow it and carry on and everybody's happy. The woman of today will teach us tolerance. How many people undergo these difficulties? And on the other hand, how many in-laws are so good to their son-in-laws and daughter-in-laws? There are people I see in this masjid who tell me, don't refer to my daughter-in-law as daughter-in-law, she's my daughter. Look at the tolerance people show. Today, where is the tolerance gone? There's a person, an elderly man. He passed away, Allah grant him Jannah. He sat one day outside and he told me, I was so hard. I fought with everybody. He says, I used to shout. I used to give the young people grief. He said, everybody, I used to just tell them whatever I wanted. He said, one day I came home and I told my daughter-in-law, can't you see the time? Where's my tea? So he said, my daughter-in-law came, brought the tea, she put it down. She asked me, do you need anything else? So he said, as usual, I scream. And I told her, what's your rush? Where are you going? So she said, my mother just passed away in the hospital. I was there, but I knew it's your time for tea, so I came here, gave you your tea. If you don't mind, I'd like to go back to see my mother who passed away. He said his grandson was sitting there, 4 years old. He looked at him and he said, Dada, you always say we shout, nobody talks to you nicely, and the people of today are like this and like this and like this. He said, Dada, have you ever thought how you talk to us? He said, I came out of that house that day and I thought to myself, everybody else can't be wrong. What am I doing? He said, from that day, I realized it took this time of my behavior to change. And I thought, where's my tolerance? Where's my patience? And he lived so nicely with everybody after that. Do we wait for something like this to happen before we can resolve issues? Where's the tolerance? Sometimes in trying to resolve our issues, we make things worse. You know how often every hadith of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has got wisdom. When Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, equality amongst your children, why would Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam say that? How many times parents in one home will have one child that is doing very well. The other child maybe for some reason has messed up. The parents, in order to cover up the messing of their one child, will go hard on the innocent child thinking, my son knows I don't mean it. My daughter knows I don't mean it. But because that brother or that sister is in a problem, I need to make that one feel good. Have you ever thought the day you're not here, what will go through your child's heart? Have you never thought that the child will think, my whole life I went through this because my father needed to give preference to somebody else? How many occasions for tolerance, we just simply can't tolerate anymore. Where are the days when we will learn that everybody are different? The old people used to say all 5 fingers are not the same. Why would they tell us this over and over and over again? The old people whose beards are gone white and who are so old, today they hunch back, probably can't stand, they'll sit on a chair. They said few words. They never gave long bayans. They never gave you philosophical answers. They never gave you brilliant examples. But the few words they said, ponder over it. When they said all 5 fingers are not the same, what were they telling us? You will have differences. You will be different. But the 5 fingers are on one hand. This hand can't work unless all 5 work together. So where's the tolerance? This is something that we as an ummah need to learn. We need to start understanding that we cannot just carry on being intolerant. If life was in our hands, take the example, when we don't have tolerance, today if I give you 2 examples, a person who Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said is going to Jannah and a person who Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said is going to Jahannam. And then compare it to our mindset today. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said a prostitute is going to Jannah, and Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said a generous man, a person who teaches the Quran, and a man who went out in jihad are going to Jahannam. Have we heard that? Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said a prostitute is going to Jannah. we wouldn't be able to tolerate that woman. We would put every insult on her. But who will tolerate her situation and go and teach her, go and educate her, go and see why is this woman like this? How can I help her? In India, one of the senior ulama, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was Hazrat Madani Rahmatullah Alayhi, was walking down the street in India. It was late at night. They came from somewhere. Got off the train, they were walking. As they were walking, he took off his shoes in the street. His student said to him that, Ustad, why are you removing your shoes? We're walking in the middle of the street. He said, there is a lady on the street that works at night as a prostitute. If she hears someone's footsteps this time of the night, she'll probably think that it's a customer. But we're not customers, we're walking. But I don't want her heart to get happy and think she's got a customer, and then we walk past, her heart may get a bit hurt. So I thought, rather take your shoes off, don't give her that inconvenience. The student said, that much of love, that much of compassion, of tolerance for a prostitute. Today we don't have that much of tolerance for our own. Today we can't tolerate our own brothers, sisters, uncles, aunts, people in one masjid, we can't tolerate each other. And then we say Sunnah of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Where is the Sunnah of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam? How did Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam react? We say we want to protect the Sunnah through the akhlaq of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was sitting with Aisha radiallahu anha. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam every day he praised Khadija radiallahu anha. Every day. Aisha radiallahu anha said one day, as Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was walking out, he was praising Khadija, and I said, don't you think Allah replaced that old woman with someone better than her? She said, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam turned around and his face got so red. And she said, I knew Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is now angry. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, Khadija was there for me when there was nobody. Khadija was there for me when wahi came. Khadija was there for me to spend her money on me. Khadija was there for me when I needed help. When nobody wanted me, Khadija took me in. Which man today will praise his wife in public? Which man today will praise his wife in the midst of an argument? Which man today will tolerate that much? We say Sunnah. That's Sunnah. Sunnah is not the Sunnah of our Shaykh. Sunnah is not the Sunnah of some person you want to follow. Sunnah is the Sunnah of Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. If your Shaykh's Sunnah is in accordance to the Sunnah of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, then we follow it. But this is tolerance that Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam showed. Let me tell you about tolerance. Maulana Yunus Patay Rahmatullah Alayhi, everybody knows he used to wear a specific topi. One day sitting on the mimbar of Jum'ah, one of his murids used to wear a turban. But in respect of him, walked in the masjid at Jum'ah time, this murid didn't wear the turban on that day, out of respect for the Shaykh. Maulana was sitting on the mimbar, he noticed, he stopped the bayan, he called him. He said, where's your turban? So the murid said, it's in the room. He said, go put it on and come back. So he went, put his turban on, he came back. After the salam, Maulana told him, Tasawwuf is not about wearing the topi of your Shaykh. Tasawwuf is not about eating the chocolate your Shaykh eats. Tasawwuf is not about that. Tasawwuf is about doing what your Shaykh tells you to do. Allah created you unique in a way, you wear what you're comfortable with wearing. Look at the tolerance. That is the sunnah that we are taught. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is walking with Aisha radiallahu anha. What the kuffar used to do, if you say Assalamu alaikum, it means peace be upon you. But if you say Assalamu alaikum, it means death upon you. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam he knew that the kuffar would walk past him and they would say Assalamu alaikum, but quickly, fast. So Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam wouldn't know. But Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam knew, and what would he say? Wa alaikum. Whatever you're saying to me, same to you. One day Aisha radiallahu anha is with Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and she hears this person saying Assalamu alaik, and she replies, Wassalamu alaik wa la'natullah. Allah's curse be upon you. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam held her hand. He said, Oh Aisha, why did you do that? She says, Oh Nabi of Allah, ama tasma'a ma taqulun? Oh Nabi of Allah, didn't you hear the man wish death upon you? Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, but Aisha, we weren't sent to do that. We weren't sent to do that. We just say, wa alaik. Tolerance with a kafir who is telling you, may death be upon you. Today when your brother or your sister or your child or your parents or your friend or someone does something, where's the compassion? Where's the tolerance in the ummah? On the occasion of Uhud, Aisha radiallahu anha used to say to Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam that, Oh Nabi of Allah, did any day more severe come upon you than the day of Uhud? What happened on the occasion of Uhud? The armor of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam it went into the face of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The links, literally steel, pierced the face of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Abu Bakr radiallahu anh jumped. He tried to pull it out. He couldn't pull it out. Can you imagine the Mubarak face of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam? The blood is gushing down. The steel is inside. Abu Bakr radiallahu anh could not pull it out. Abu Ubaidah Amir ibn al-Jarrah radiallahu anh, he came and he used his teeth to pull out one by one. And for every steel he pulled out, a tooth of his came out. A tooth of his was lost for every link that came out. At the end of all of that, all these links were out. The blood was gushing all onto Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Sahaba was sitting around Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam lifted his hands. What did he say? What did Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam say? Allahumma ghafir li qawmi fa innahum la ya'lamun. Allah forgive my nation because they don't know better. Occasion like that should teach us tolerance. An occasion like that should teach us that on Taif, when Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was pelted, when they called him whatever, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was called Sahir, Majnoon, everything. On the occasion of Taif, when Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam sat down, what did he say? Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam saw all of these people attacking him. Allah sends the angel comes and says, "O Nabi of Allah, Ana Malakul Jibal, I am the angel in charge of mountains. Inna Rabbak qad sami'a qawla qawmika lak." Allah heard what they said about you. And Allah has sent me to order, at your command, لِتَأْمُرَنِي بِمَا شِئْتَ. Tell me whatever you want. لَوْ أَمَرْتَنِي, if you order, I will bring the two mountains together and I'll crush them. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the middle, the people who threw stones at him, the people who sent their children to throw rocks at him, the people who called him all the names, the people who battered him, the people who hit him till his feet were stuck with blood. And what did Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam say? No, someday someone from their progeny will worship Allah. That's tolerance. That's sunnah. That is what we learn from Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. End of the day, let's learn tolerance. When you see someone in your family, in your home, wherever it is, learn tolerance. Learn to forgive. Learn to see good in others. Learn to give people the better option. Learn to see good. Learn to give people the benefit of the doubt. You know, there's a person, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, there's a man on his deathbed. He said to all his sons around him, when I die, burn me to ashes. So they burnt him. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, riwayat of Bukhari, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, when the man, now he left the world, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told all the earth, bring his ashes together. All the ashes came. And here the man is standing in front of Allah. And Allah asked him, what made you tell them to burn you to ashes? He says, oh Allah, I feared that I can't stand in front of you. So I thought, rather burn me up so I don't have to stand in front of you. Allah told him, out of my fear you did that? He said, yes. Allah said, قَدْ غَفَرْتُ لَكَ. Go, I've forgiven you. Allah is showing us His love. He's showing us His tolerance. How many times will we make an effort to put people into Jannah as opposed to throwing people into Jahannam? The famous person, not Russia, one of the Van Doren, the man, the politician who spoke so bad about Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He spoke such evil. He spoke against Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Everybody protested, which we should. Everybody made a noise. But one Muslim went to him and said, I don't have a problem. Just do me one favor. Here's a book on the life of the man you cursed. Just read that book. That's all I'm asking you for. After that, if you still want to curse, go ahead. I won't say anything. This Van Doren took that book and he read the book on the life of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He read it. He read the tolerance. He read the love. He read the patience of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who didn't write anybody off. What did he do? The same Van Doren reads the book, closes it. He says, I'm wrong. I'm completely wrong. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. The same man 1 year later, about a year ago, his own son also accepted Islam. But I want one thing, and I want you to picture this. The same man, he criticized Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the world hated him. Someone put an arm out to him like Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam would have done. He now makes tawbah. They say the greatest moment for that youngster who gave him the book was when this man who accepted Islam went to Madinatul Munawwara on his occasion of Hajj, He stood in front of the Rawda, in front of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and he said, "O Nabi of Allah, I'm sorry for what I said." Have we ever stood there and said, "Oh, sorry, O Nabi of Allah, for throwing your sunnah out"? Have we ever stood there and said, "Oh Nabi of Allah, we're sorry for not being patient and forbearing and for not showing tolerance"? This man, if he was written off and nobody showed tolerance, where would he have been? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us all patience, tolerance. May Allah grant us peace in our families, in our communities, and as an ummah at large. We all are aware with regard to the situation in Pakistan, which is very, very dire. People, entire cities have gone underwater. School children have lost their lives. Many, many people have lost their lives. Today it is in Pakistan. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for them. There are many, many organizations that are on the ground that are doing a lot of work there. Allah has always blessed the South African community who have always come to the fore when it comes to assisting Muslims throughout the world. Our masjid has done a collection last week and we'll be doing another collection today as well. After the salah, when you go out, the blue drum is there. We appeal to everybody to please donate generously. This money will be going directly to ulama in Pakistan who will be overseeing the distribution of it. If you don't have anything with you, later on you can meet Uncle Babu, you can meet Muazzin, and inshallah give it to them. Let us stretch out to them. Remember, as-sadaqah tutfi'u ghadab ar-rabb. Sadaqah will take away the anger of Allah. And I don't say this happily, but in South Africa we need the mercy of Allah at the moment. Give a lot of charity, give a lot of sadaqah, and ask Allah to cool His anger upon us, and ask Allah to bring better conditions. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.